Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's been a minute and I've definitely missed you guys, but we're finally back today with a brand new video, and that's because the filter game for drones has changed forever. If that intro was dramatic enough for you, then like and subscribe. So I recently went to Hawaii, and when I came back, I found these in my mailbox. These are the Freewell Pro Variable ND MIST, and the MIST part is important, filters. And based on the title of this video, let me explain to you why these are the last ND filters you'll ever need for your drone. So right off the bat, these MIST ND filters by Freewell are available for the Air 2S, which is the drone that I fly, for the Air 2 and for the Mavic 2 Pro. And they have two main features, which is the variable function and the MIST function. And we'll talk about the variable function first. Now, prior to these filters, I was using this. This is the All Day Pack by Freewell Pro, and it has basically every single variable ND strength that you could ever need, and it covers the entire spectrum. The only downside is that, well, as you can tell, this is a lot of filters, so it takes up a ton of space in my camera bag when I'm traveling. So in come the variable ND MIST filters, and these are pretty cool because they come in a pack of two, and they essentially replace all of these filters. So you literally don't need these if you're gonna be using these. So the first filter in this set covers stops 2 to 5, which covers ND strength from 4 to 32. And then your second filter is stops 6 to 9, which covers your strength from all the way from 64 to 512. Essentially, every single stop just multiplies the ND level by 2. Now, if you guys wanna know why ND filters are important, how to put them on, how to use them, what strength to use, I actually have another video on my YouTube channel which covers all of that, and I'll link that somewhere up here or down here. It'll definitely be linked in this video. But essentially, as a crash course, when you're shooting video, you want your shutter speed to be double your frame rate, which will give you accurate motion blur. The only issue with that is that that usually requires a pretty low shutter speed, which makes your image really bright and really overexposed. And that's where ND filters come in. They kind of act like sunglasses for your camera and help reduce that brightness so you can use the right shutter speed. Also, you've probably noticed by now that my MIST filters pack, my all day pack, and even my FPV pack for ND filters are all by Freewell Pro, and that's because today's video is actually sponsored by Freewell Pro. Now, I actually think Freewell makes some of the best filters in the entire game. They are literally the filters that I use every single day for my drones, and the quality is completely uncompromising. In a lot of scenarios, I actually feel like the filters make your video look better, and Freewell is not paying me to say any of this. They just send me the filters. I'm free to say whatever I want about the product, and I would never recommend to you guys something that I don't personally use myself. All the video that you see on my Instagram page, my YouTube page, whenever I post drone clips, a lot of the images that I take when it's really bright outside and I want proper motion blur in my pictures, I'm using a Freewell Pro ND filter. So if you guys are in the market for an ND filter, I highly recommend taking a look at Freewell. I think they make some of the best filters in the game, and they're the ones that I use for all of my stuff. So once again, I highly recommend Freewell Pro. And again, they're not paying me to say that. I actually think their filters are dope. Anyways, let's get back to the video. So we covered the variable part of these filters, which I actually think is the most important part of these filters for me. It really shrinks down your equipment, and I'm a big fan of that. I really believe in carrying as little camera gear as possible in 2021. Now let's move on to that MIST portion in the title of these filters and what that MIST effect really does. Essentially, it adds a stylized look to your footage. Now, as I talk about the MIST portion of the filter and what it does, I'm actually gonna have some footage playing in the background, and is gonna be clearly labeled whether I use the MIST filter for that footage or not. And basically what I did was that I went to a park at night So I basically put the ND filters through the worst conditions they could possibly be used in. I really put them through their paces because I wanted to see what they were capable of. So that's the footage that you guys are gonna see playing in the background as I talk about what the mist filter does. So essentially, in my test of the mist filter, I found that it increases the saturation and reduces the highlights of the video so they're less blown out. Now I shoot everything in D-Log, so I already have a very high dynamic range, but I found that the effect that these filters put on the footage really enhances the quality of the footage overall. And my favorite part of the mist effect is that if you weren't looking for it, you probably wouldn't even really notice. So I think Freewell has done an excellent job of making sure that the mist effect is really subtle. I would probably equate this to like a 1/8 mist level. So if you ever used a mist filter on an actual camera and you've used something like a half level or a full level, you'll notice that the image is really soft and like glowy, and you definitely don't want that with drone footage. So like you'll notice that the footage is still extremely sharp, and the mist effect, you can't even really notice it unless you're really looking for it. So it's there, but it's not really there. And I think that's the beauty of these Freewell Pro filters. You get a very cool stylized look without sacrificing any of the quality or any of the sharpness in your video. And because we're using these DJI drones with these tiny sensors, I know 1 inch is like considered to be a big drone sensor, but it's still pretty small when compared to like a DSLR or something. You want to make sure that the image comes out of camera as clean as possible. And I really think with the increased saturation, the reduction in the blown out highlights, and this little mist stylized look, the picture comes out even better than the stock footage that you see on the DJI drones that you would without the filter. Okay, so who are the mist filters for? If you've yet to buy your first set of ND filters, get these. They cover the entire spectrum and they only cost 50 bucks, which is really good value, especially when you compare it to something like the all-day pack by Freewell for the DJI Air 2S. This costs $130. But the difference is that these are polarized, so they really help enhance like your blues and your aquas. So it really depends on what kind of look you're going for, if you even want these. But I would say that the mist filters are essential no matter who you are. You should have this in your camera bag. And then the all-day pack really depends on like what kind of look you're going for. But if you don't have a pack, I would definitely get these. And these are gonna be the ones that I'm gonna be using 95% of the time moving forward, just because I really like the way that the style of the mist looks, and I like carrying only 2 filters. I don't like to carry a lot of camera gear. So that's it for the video, guys. These are Freewell's newest filters. As always, if you guys learned something, smash that like button, give it the old like. If you enjoyed listening to me, then, you know, subscribe to the channel. But that's it for this one. And until the next one, yeah, keep creating.